Sony are fucking idiots. What is going on? What is going on? Right, look at this from Jason Schreier over on Blue Sky. Breaking. PlayStation is shutting down Bluepoint Games, literally one of their best studios. The studio responsible for modern remakes of classic games such as Demon's Souls and Shadow of the Colossus, Bloomberg News has learned. A shocking end for a well-respected studio. Roughly 70 employees will be impacted by the Bluepoint closure. Bluepoint was working on a God of War live service game until it was cancelled early last year. The studio then spent the last year pitching and trying to determine what it would do next. Oh my God. Sony shuts down video game studio Bluepoint. The PlayStation subsidiary previously made remakes of games like Demon's Souls. Obviously, we were all hoping they would make a Bloodborne remake, right? They would have been the prime candidates for it. But Sony and PlayStation, they were like, no, we want you to make a God of War live service game. Oh, God. Sony Group Corp is shutting down Bluepoint Games, the PlayStation subsidiary responsible for developing remakes of video games such as Demon's Souls. Roughly 70 employees will lose their jobs amid the studio closure. A PlayStation spokesperson said, writing in a statement, that the decision was made following a recent business review that Bluepoint will officially shutter next month. The guys running this are fucking idiots. So what? See, what I don't understand. Why would you... I can't understand these big corporations when you have clearly got talent. This isn't like a group of developers that have made shite and there was nothing. They've made some banger remakes. They would have been prime to be your lead remake studio for all of your classic games, Sony. But what you have done instead, sent them off to work on live service slop, which didn't work, and then you cancelled it. Then they spent a year trying to pitch you ideas for new games, and then you just decided it's time to let them go. This is idiotic. You will never get this kind of talent back. And it isn't just Sony that does this. Microsoft is criminal for doing this as well. It is horrific. Horrific. Bluepoint Games is an incredibly... They always say this as well. Bluepoint Games is an incredibly talented team, and their technical expertise has delivered exceptional experiences for the PlayStation community, the spokesperson said. We thank them for their passion and creativity and craftsmanship. Who would be a game developer? Straight up, like what the hell? Founded in 2006, the Austin-based studio is known for developing high-end remakes of older games, such as Uncharted and Shadow of the Colossus, for modern platforms. Sony acquired Bluepoint in 2021, shortly after the successful release of Demon's Souls on PlayStation 5, and tasked it with co-developing 2022's God of War Ragnarok. Following that game, Bluepoint began working on a live service God of War game. Bloomberg previously reported on that, but it was cancelled in January 2025. PlayStation said at the time that it was working with Bluepoint to determine the studio's next project. I just want to jump over to Kotaku. I mean, they're basically regurgitating the same article, but even they touch on the point of, what people were waiting for. I think everyone was waiting for this, right? Fans have been hoping for years that Sony would use Bluepoint Games to revive other PlayStation classics, including the PS4 exclusive Bloodborne. I was in that group 100% of the way. I cannot, what goes through the heads of these, studio leads? Are they that? Well, they're not even studio leads. The PlayStation leads. Are they fucking idiots? You've got a team that is incredible at remakes. Actually incredible. They can take anything and remake it effectively, right? That's basically what they were. Instead of using them to that strength, which they've been used to in the past and you had good success with, you've decided, no, that success wasn't enough. What we want is more live service, ultra monetized slop with one of our big brands. Let's use, God of War, and let's see where we go with that. And then you decided to cancel it after a few years pissing about. And then you said, look, you've got a year, come up with an idea for a game, which they, I presume, tried to. And then it was like, no, this is not working, goodbye. Why didn't anyone at Sony go, it's 70 developers, they're the best at remakes, we're just going to constantly have remakes coming out? Can you imagine? Even, I know these companies are all about money, but imagine the PR, the goodwill of just producing a Bloodborne remaster. It would be insane. It would be actually insane. But Sony, they'd rather shoot themselves in the foot. That's what I can't understand with these studios. I cannot understand at any point how they would ever have come to this decision. It is mind-bogglingly stupid. Now, Kotaku do say, by last count, there were 70 people employed, and we do know, according to Jason Schreier, they've been effectively let go. But it's unclear if they're getting totally let go or they're being pushed to other kind of parts of PlayStation. I don't know. But don't worry, though, because Sony, they've got this on lockdown. This is the Horizon IP. Horizon Hunt the Gatherers. Look at the dislikes next to me. Again, remember, disclaimer, this is not entirely accurate because it's a plugin. But, I mean, 100,000. Oh, what are we doing? You're gonna have another Concord if you're carrying on with this shit, Sony. It is just crazy. I mean, I firmly believe with this, though, it is a result of Genshin Impact. I know for a fact a lot of the big game studios were running exploratory game like design development ideas into Genshin Impact style games as soon as they seen how much money that was generating. And I think this is just one of those kind of things. What are they doing? Like, who wants this? Who actually wants this? It seems like we're giving Kotaku quite a bit of love, but we're going to carry on. So this is actually a really cool article. So it's Sony's PS5 era studio acquisition spree has been a disaster, right? And the latest example is obviously Bluepoint. And you can see here they've got a list of the games. So Insomniac Games, obviously, acquired in 2019. They've done really well with Spider-Man, and they were hit with layoffs in February 2024, but they will be shipping Wolverine this year, a highly anticipated game. Probably will do well. Housemarque, acquired in 2021, new game, Saros, dropping this year on PS5. Nixie Software, acquired in 2021, has been very active support studio for Sony, working on Horizon, Helldivers 2, and more. So there's a lot of these studios that kind of go under the radar, and they're like support studios to live service games, and they'll specialize in one area. Like, I'm not entirely familiar with them, but I know there's various studios I remember Blizzard worked with. I think one of them was in Germany, where they would do effectively build the skins. Like, Blizzard would send the concept art and the skin art off, and then they would like rig the models and do that kind of stuff. I'm probably getting these terms wrong, but there's a lot of these studios that specialize in basically producing all of this shite for live service games. Firesprite, acquired in 2021, layoffs in February 24. Its last ship game was Horizon Call of the Mountain. Now, this one really hits home to me because I fucking love this game. This game, so full disclosure, they won't be sending me anything again, but Sony sent me a PS VR2 headset, and I slapped that into my PS5, and I played this, and this was legitimately, this is hyperbolic. This was legitimately one of the best gaming experiences I think I've had. It was incredible. It was actually incredible. This is like up there with Half-Life Alyx in terms of like this is an experience. But yeah, I'd imagine these guys are probably going to be got rid of soon because the VR just doesn't sell. But it was an incredible game. This was a good use of the Horizon IP as well. Fabric Games, acquired in 21, part of Firesprite, hasn't shipped a game since 2017. Bluepoint Games, obviously they've finished. Valkyrie Entertainment, acquired in 21, hasn't shipped a game since 2015. But they did help on Concord. Haven Studios, acquired in 2022, hasn't shipped a game yet, founded in 2021, working on a delayed live service shooter, Fair Games. Bungie, I mean, they've got Marathon coming out soon, so I think this is going to do okay. Marathon, I'm looking forward to this. I really like the aesthetic of Marathon. I'm willing to give this a go, so we'll see. Neon Koi, acquired in 2022, founded in 2020, never shipped a planned live service mobile project and then got closed. And then Firewalk Studios, obviously these were closed as well, acquired in 23, launched Concord, and then 2 weeks were closed. Well, the game was got rid of and then they were closed. So, yeah, not the best record, is it, Sony? Let's keep it Kotaku, because that just seems to be what we're doing these days. This again, I was like, what is this? This is like, it ties into the Sony stuff, because gaming console war has been replaced by an attention war with gambling, porn, and memes. A new industry report paints a harsh picture of gaming's present challenges and prospects for growth. I don't think this is accurate. I think this is from COVID. There was a massive explosion, and obviously everybody was locked in their fucking house. They had to play games or watch the TV. They played a lot of games. So there's a lot of scaling up, a lot of predictions, a lot of future expected revenues, let's say, were stupidly high because They thought people would continue to keep playing games. But guess what? When you're allowed to go out your house, you go out. Well, some people go out their house. And that's what happens. Oh dear. Anyway, the console gaming market has plateaued. PC gaming is bigger than ever, but not exploding to the extent that video games are still growing. It's thanks to players in China and Roblox as a user-generated content and casino apps thrive on mobile. The traditional AAA or AAA, why the hell did I say AAA? What an idiot. AAA blockbuster model is finding it harder than ever to compete with the rise of OnlyFans, DraftKings, and TikTok. I mean, come on. Like, okay, there's only so many hours in a day and people do different things. But AAA is getting battered, and I mean battered by proper indie games and even AA devs that understand their audience and are making a product, for a specific audience, not for a massive, let's try and get as many players as possible and wreck them with a live service load of shit. Horizon Hunters gather, they will not. What the hell? Anyway, those are some of the main themes in the venture capitalist and analyst Matthew Ball's annual report on the state of the video games industry. His 2026 mega slideshow is full of graphs painting a picture of where gaming has been and where it is headed. It's a fascinating and occasionally grim portrait of a stalled industry, struggling to compete with everything else consumers could do in their free time. See, again, I don't agree with this. It's not a stalled industry. There was a lot of... I'm going to talk about bikes again. I love talking about bikes. There's a lot of stalled industries. And bikes were the same thing. Road bikes, mountain bikes, whatever bike. Because remember, when COVID came in and you had lockdown, you could do exercise if you were like on your own and away from other people. This was great for bikes, wasn't it? Because generally you're on your own, you know what I mean? Well, you can bike together, but like you'd be on your own, off you go. Massive, massive, incredible sales. A lot of the big bike brands hired tons more workers, produced loads more stock, and then they ended up with way too much stock because guess what? Because soon all the new bikes, people were trying to sell them as lockdowns went away and they could go back to doing whatever they liked to do before. The market was flooded with basically new bikes that were being sold at discount prices. So the retailers, and the manufacturers couldn't sell, could they? At full price. No. And that has been a major shock in the cycle industry completely. And it's the same for games. It's actually the same for games. So, this is just crazy. Increasingly among young men, those distractions include looking at porn, betting on sports games, betting on live casinos, and endlessly scrolling videos on YouTube and TikTok. Ball argues that while interactive entertainment is still ascendant, that just doesn't mean video games anymore. I don't agree with this. These things have always been around anyway. Maybe not TikTok, but they've always been around. I don't agree with this. I don't think this is a very good. I think this has got a fundamental flaw in some of the statements he's trying to make. But it's interesting, isn't it, to look at it. We're not going to talk about Roblox because fuck Roblox. All right, there we go. Sony strike again. So obviously Concord was a disaster. This Horizon game, Gatherers of whatever, that's going to be a disaster as well. The writing is on the wall for that completely. And now they've got rid of Bluepoint Games, so you can forget a Bloodborne remake, unless they're working on it with a different studio, but it seems unlikely because Bluepoint were their crack team of remake, remaster developers, and they've just got rid of them. All right, guys, thanks for watching the video, and let me know what you think about this in the comments below. I think it's actually insane. I don't know how or why these people operate who run these companies. They're entrusted with these entertainment products and these things that people, that are beloved around the world, and they don't realize what they've got. Well, they do. They just care about returns, and they think there's no point making a Bloodborne remaster because it'll only make X amount of dollars when we can make a live service game, and if it hits the jackpot, we'll make a massive, massive load more. But Sony's history hasn't been very good, has it, with live service, with the exception of Helldivers. But that's a one-off, let's say. All right, guys. I'll catch you lovely lot on the next video. I've been Stylosa. You can follow me on everything, which is at Stylosa. My God, what insane news.